Hello, friends, and welcome to yet another episode of Words Matter. Now, today's quote is one that I hold very close to my heart because I developed it myself out of sheer necessity. I grow through what I go through when I choose to. Now, originally, the quote didn't include those four words at the end, when I choose to. It simply stated, I grow through what I go through. And for months and months and months, it became the mantra that I leaned on during all sorts of challenging times. It reminded me that the hard things I faced were not meant to break me. Nope, they were meant to shape me. But over time, I realized that something was missing from it. Because growth doesn't just happen because we go through hard things. It's not automatic. It actually requires a choice, a conscious decision to move forward, to heal, to learn. And that's why I added on to it the when I choose to. And those four words shifted that quote from something very passive to something very intentional, a declaration of the power that we have to choose growth. And this shift is also where curiosity came in. Did you know that the questions we ask ourselves during challenging moment make a huge difference? See, oftentimes we all default to the why. Why is this happening to me? Why didn't I see this coming? Why can't I ever get this right? Why me? Well, these why questions, as you just heard, often pull us into this guilt and shame, and they send us down this rabbit hole of regret and remorse where the focus is 100% on all the things that went wrong instead of all the things that could go right. But when we shift from why questions to what or how questions, everything changes. See, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? You can choose to get curious and instead ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What can I do right now to create a solution for this problem? How can I grow through this? See, these questions aren't about assigning blame or finding fault. They're about creating this beautiful open space for curiosity and growth. What and how questions reframe this obstacle that we're facing into opportunities to learn and move forward. And they stop that spinning cycle of helplessness by opening the door to action and clarity. Now, this shift became incredibly real to me during one of the most challenging seasons of my life, when I chose to rebuild my relationship with food, and most importantly, when I chose to rebuild my relationship with myself. For years, I felt trapped in this cycle of frustration, self abuse, really, trying diet after diet after diet, feeling like all I was doing was failing. I asked myself constantly, why can't you get it together? Why do you keep making these choices? Why do you keep struggling? The day that everything changed is when I changed my questions. I started asking myself, what are the patterns that are keeping me stuck? What can I do differently today that I didn't do yesterday? How can I show up for myself in a way that supports the life I'm working to build versus punishes me? Now, see, they didn't solve my problems overnight, but they did shift my perspective. They allowed me to focus on the solutions rather than the problems and the growth rather than the guilt. So, how can you make this shift for yourself? Well, let's break it down into 3 practical steps, shall we? Number 1, get curious about your patterns. When something feels overwhelming, instead of asking, why do I always do this? Try asking, what's happening here? What's going on? What's triggering this reaction? Getting curious takes the judgment out of the equation completely and allows you to see patterns in your behavior without the shame attached. Number 2, reframe the stories that you're telling yourself. If your inner dialogue is saying, I'll never figure this out, try instead asking, how can I approach this differently? Or what's one small step I can take today that will move me forward? See, reframing helps you shift from focusing on what's wrong to what's possible. Number 3, focus on action, not blame. When you face a challenge, you got to resist the urge to ask, Why is this happening to me? Instead, ask, how can I respond to this? What is one thing I can do to make progress? See, action doesn't have to be big, friends. It just has to move you forward. So let's make this a little bit more real. What's something that you're facing right now? Something that feels heavy, frustrating, overwhelming? Instead of asking yourself why, reframe the questions and ask yourself, what is the situation teaching me? How can I choose to grow through this? What is one small step I can take today to move myself forward? When we choose curiosity over guilt, we create space, that beautiful open space for growth. We transform regret into reflection, blame into understanding, and shame into progress. I'm going to leave you with this today. Growth isn't about being perfect, friends, or for sure having it all figured out, but it is about choosing every day to move forward, even when it's hard. Remember, you grow through what you go through when you choose to. As always, friends, the words that we see, the words that we read, and the words that we hear, all the words that we say about ourselves, to ourselves, what we're doing and how we're doing it, all your words matter, friends, because you matter. Have a great day.